Today I am here discussing, fixing cars and fixing cars with YouTube as the major diagnostic tool. So this is a 1989 Corvette, and you can read the codes by jumping some pins on it, and it'll tell you kinda in a roundabout way. It's OBD1, so it's very, very fuzzy information, okay? So you don't really get a good picture of what to do. This car has a lot of new parts on it, and so I have, looked at the symptoms, okay? It's misfiring, and the car doesn't say so, but the seat of the pants says so. You can say, okay, there's a little miss, there's a skip, or whatever, something's going on inside the engine, and it's not a bad thing, it's just poof, every once in a while, So you type in the diagnosis into Google or YouTube, and some videos pop up. So you look at those videos, and you kind of determine, hey, is this what's going on in my vehicle? And then you take action, You take action by either fixing it or not. But YouTube becomes your major diagnostic tool because, for the average person, you don't have scanners, so you try to stand on the shoulders of giants, people who know what they're doing, and you don't have a computer. You just know, okay, so the car's misfiring, so you use the seat of the pants, your senses, your gut, and you say, okay, this is happening, and then you see if it's happened before to somebody else and what they did and what fixed it. So I do that, and I recommend that to a lot of folks. It's oddly enough, remarkably just effective at fixing problems. I'm stunned by it, because it's just what has happened before with this, which is basically evidence-based diagnostics, without actually touching the car, because obviously they can't touch the car through YouTube. I have several places I go to. This particular job, I spent quite a bit of time watching South Main Auto. They're one of my favorites. I've watched so many of his videos, and he's done quite a few on this C4. One of them, he actually did a whole diagnostic series on a car shutting down and then running poorly. This car isn't quite so bad, but a lot of the same symptoms. It's running poorly with, new ignition everywhere, and there's a lot of good new parts, but it's still having a little bit of trouble. And it's an 89, so it's exactly the year he was working on. So what am I doing? Let me show you. I've got this gasket kit, and I've got 8 brand new injectors. These injectors are going to replace the old ones, and hopefully they're going to fix my problem, because I've invested in it, and I'm going to what's so funny is that on that video, these are fresh. This engine has 3,000 miles on it, and looks like they must have put old injectors back in, because they're not new, but these gaskets are new. And looks like there's a lot of brand new parts on here, because the engine's new, but of course when you get a new engine, it comes and you have to put your intake and your peripherals on there. So all the peripherals are older. So I found, it's funny, because in the video series he has, he puts these gaskets on. First time he puts it on the wrong side. These gaskets look really, really, really similar, but they're not. One of them is marked L, and one of them marked R. And somebody put the R on the wrong side because it was obscuring the EGR hole. And it's something he warned about in his video, and because I watched that YouTube diagnostic video, bam, I have a jump start on the project I'm doing. Now, I'll let you know if this works, because it's really changed the way, you know, your average DIY person works on their car. They first research the project on YouTube or on Google, and then they proceed based on what they've read, you know, or they've gone to Google and they've gotten the codes at their local parts store. And you know, newer cars are easier because you have those codes, but because this beast right here does not have very good codes, it's OBD1, you know, I'm operating kind of blind, but you know, so I'll let you know how it works out. There's a lot of, I mean, even if I've done the project before, it's good to see someone else do the project. It's good to see someone else's technique. It's good to see someone else's mistakes, because then it keeps you from making the same mistakes, and or it keep, you know, you go out and buy the right gasket kit because you know ahead of time kind of what you need. I will finish this project, start the car up and drive it, and I'll let you know how my YouTube experience went. All right, so a couple of things you got to keep in mind when doing a YouTube diagnosis. Some of these guys are extraordinarily talented people who know what they're doing, and they do it well, and you have to understand that, you know, you have to get to their level to be able to do what they do. So the videos I was looking at, one of them, the guy did this job with the injectors in the car, the whole rail in the car, and lifted it up, pulled them down. One thing you don't see in the video is that these guys are the locks, and they lock in the system like this right here. You put them in and you twist them. That's really hard to do when it's inside the car. Pulling these locks out, so I actually had to take the thing out of the car to get these things out. And let me tell you, I don't know, but I guess this would be added cost, but new injectors would have been great. These are very old injectors on a brand new engine, so I think the car will be operating a lot better after I do this. And this thing's pretty dirty. I would have cleaned it up, which is what I'm gonna do now. Another thing he said, brake cleaner. You need brake cleaner and tons of it to get this thing clean. So, all right. So here's how these go in. It's hard to do, so I kind of pre-grease this one here. You put a little bit of the dielectric on there like this, you know, kind of rub it in a little bit, get it all nice and spread out. Okay. And then this lock, you kind of have to angle the tips, the connector out, and make sure the lock is oriented correctly to go in. And you just kind of slide her on in, and then you twist the lock. It's a twist lock. All right. And I don't know if you saw that, but there's a lock, twist lock, and you just twist them in. Come back and you grease these so you can get them into the intake manifold. I don't know how well I cleaned it up. I didn't have enough brake cleaner, so I ended up having to use throttle body. And since I'm not working on brakes, that's fine. But you know, so I got them clean, and that's what matters. Also, acetone to clean other places. This is a multi-point fuel injection from Rochester Products. So about to get all these injectors put in. Injector magic, you'll see. Alright, so here's the gasket kit for the Corvette, and MS 93-160. And then if you look at these, this is your upper set, and it says 93-158, 93-159, so that's the entire kit. And then this is for the lower set here, including the throttle body gasket, which I'll need because I took that off too. And they're all marked as to their location, so be sure that they go in that proper location. They'll fit where they don't belong, is what I've been told. So I'm gonna listen to them. And oh, by the way, that injector rail, you have to be understanding that when you, oh man, they went in beautifully, but I did manage to get it to happen with, you know, just had to take off this side, get the entire fuel rail out, and put the injectors in. The injectors could have probably come in and out without coming out, but I have no idea how it would have gotten those locks in and out. I mean, they're right here, if you can see that right there. Just I don't know, it's hard to see, but I'm gonna use this right here. So that's the lock, and you just slide it and then pull it out. It's just really tough to get them back in, and I can't imagine doing it on the car. So I highly recommend taking the whole rail out. The gaskets come with the kit. You just need a an act of God to get these rail, I guess runners are what they're called, back on. So now to get some gaskets on and put this joker back together. All right. So the injectors are back in, and they fit pretty well. I'm pretty impressed. So looks pretty stock in factory. These are the 22-pound injectors with the 4-hole squirters. Hopefully they work. They're from Atlanta Auto in California. Got them on eBay for $99. So we'll see if they work. Let's hope they do. So while I do this, I'm going to be doing a couple of things as well. And if you see, the diverter, air diverter, is gone. I'm going to be taking that out. It was kind of squeaking when I took it apart. I was going to reuse the housing and take out the vanes, but they were bad, so I was seconds away from having to replace them anyway. So I went ahead and got the kit from Mercury Spinning, and I'm going to be taking that. I've already taken everything out, and now I just have to cap off the exhaust right there. Old brass caps will do fine. And now I'm going to be taking off all this brittle. You can see here it's just broken and everything, and I'm going to be putting new conduit, just making it look a little bit better under the hood. And a lot of this stuff, this aluminum, just needs painting or cleaning or pressure washing or something, but not quite clean. Looks really dirty. I cleaned it. Doesn't look all that clean, does it? So I'm gonna have to probably do something about that at another time, but for now I'm gonna get her back running, and we'll see. Right here is the outlet, and there's a hose that goes to the intake. That is where the hot water goes through the intake, and I live here in Florida, so I don't really need that, and I don't even think this car is going to be seeing too much inclement weather sitting here in the garage. But I did find a whole bunch of vacuum that really wasn't connected to anything, so I went ahead and I capped it off where it's supposed to be coming from. That's connected to the EGR valve, and well, I like an EGR valve because if you're ever spiritedly driving the car, but the catalytic converters, I think, are out of this car too. I don't know for sure. I'd have to go down there and check, because there's a spot for them and it looks like they're there, but the smell of it, that doesn't smell like they're there. So I'll go ahead and check that out, and well, we'll see. So I'll go ahead and start it up when I get those parts in. I'll let you know about this diagnosis on YouTube.